Hello, my dear. I've decided against all my instincts to record a video for you. Today in the morning, we received the boxes for the move. So the boxes packing will start very soon. And when it has started, this room, like every other room, will be chaos. So I'm recording this video now. This is my little office space. Look, I even got a microphone. I didn't get it to record this video. I had it before, but I had to reclaim it from Chris, who was using it for his gaming with his buddies. Um, well, I'm recording this video because I feel it's getting harder and harder for me to get through to you and to connect in the ways that we're actually used to connect. And I'm also starting to understand that you are currently not able to pursue things like fixing your teeth because your brain is in a survival state, and it does not really allow such thoughts about about anything that is not survival related, so to speak. So the most logical thing for me to do, from my opinion, would be that we get you out of the survival and back into the present moment for a bit, yeah. And because in the present moment you can function again like the adult that you are, and not like somebody who's stuck in a past trauma loop. And that is basically what I see has been happening. And that's not to blame you for anything or anything of that kind. It's a very normal thing to happen if somebody experienced what you experience. Yeah, but I want to explain a bit, and I also want to show you possible solutions to that. And yeah, I took some notes, and I'm looking at those notes now. Yeah, what trauma is basically doing, it is distorting your reality, and it makes you feel like you're in an unsafe space and you're at war, even though in fact you aren't. We're both affected by what this trauma is doing, because we actually had a lot of trust between us, but the trauma seems to believe that you can only be on your own in difficult situations, and everybody else is a liability. Everybody else is keeping you from doing what needs to be done. Everybody else is a risk, a danger, or something like that. And of course, it hurts me when I receive this behavior from you. It hurts me. Of course, I care for you. I love you. But at the same time, I try not to make this about me for the moment. I will snooze the things that are involved for me, and we can get back to them and repair them at a later stage, I hope, because they also need a bit of repair. It's also not easy for me, being pushed back, being cut off, and all of those things. But I see that it's not you who's doing those things. It's trauma. And trauma makes you mutate into a traumatized cretin man. All cretin men with a capital M are traumatized. Otherwise, they would not act the way they act. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. What I want us to do is to switch modes for a moment. And that means that I will not talk to you as Mimi now, but I will talk to you as a trauma therapist. Yeah. I see very typical patterns showing up, and they clearly tell me that you are trapped in an acute trauma loop at the moment. Yeah. The whole survival brain, this is basically trauma. And I would like us to look at this trauma like it is a third person in the room. Yeah. It's not only you and me, there is somebody else here, and that is trauma. And trauma is standing between us, and whatever we talk, trauma interprets it in a way for you that makes you feel threatened by me, that makes you seek distance from me, and all those things. What happened, in my opinion, and I'm looking at that from a purely professional point of view now, like I would look at it if I would see it in a client of mine who comes to see me. This has happened in the past, and it's definitely not something that you are to blame for. That is maybe very important to put this first. What is currently happening to you is that your old trauma, which involves neglect in childhood, which involves abandonment of the people you needed the most, which involves betrayal of your trust, your ex, the torturer, all of them, yeah? So a lot. And this old trauma, the whole package at the moment, has been activated through the fights with your relatives and the situation of living with them in the same house, which is horrible, yeah? And you wanting to cut the contact with them. Maybe it's good to say this upright. Trauma is not the events that happened to you in the past. So we're not talking about anything from the past now. But trauma is the effect that the past events still have in the present moment today on your nervous system, your subconscious, and your body. Let me tell you some things about trauma. I'm sure you've heard some of them, maybe most of them, but I think it's important that we look at trauma, as I said, as the third person in the room here. We're not alone at the moment. I'm not only talking to you, and you're not only talking to me. We have trauma with us in the room. Trauma makes you perceive situations that are actually safe as unsafe, yeah? Like engaging with me. That is something that always made you feel safe. And at the moment, because trauma is there, trauma is whispering in your ear. I don't know what it is whispering, but it must be something like, hey, don't trust her. If she doesn't obey your orders, she is not safe. Of course, that makes me feel hurt, but it's not about my hurt now. Not now. We're snoozing this. We're getting back to this. Trauma tells us that it's about life and death when it is not. I will get to this in a moment. Trauma makes us see things as black and white, and others can only be good or bad, with you or against you, and there is no gray in between. Yeah. But every human is a bit of gray. Everybody has some good things and some bad things. I do, you do, everybody does. But when trauma kicks in, trauma wants to tell you, okay, good, bad, and nothing in between. There's no space to negotiate and discuss. Trauma makes us push away people we love because we start to mistrust them for no logical reason. Our brain tells us that we have been betrayed and abandoned before in the past, so it will happen again. That makes us seek distance and believe that we can only do this alone, which in turn reinforces and feeds the trauma. Because trauma can only be where there is no safety, where there is no safe space. So you push away the safe space and the people who are with you in the safe space. Like me, we always had a safe space together. Trauma makes us recreate all traumatic experiences. By pushing away safe people in the now, it brings us in the old situation. It brings us back to the old situation of not having anyone to trust and having to go through it alone. It is not that you are alone. Trauma makes you alone in this because it distorts your view of reality and makes you see danger where there is actually safety. Trauma stresses the body and puts it in a constant fight or flight. A body in fight or flight has trouble with sleep, digestion, and self-care because the body believes that it is in grave danger. And if this were true, if there was a grave danger, things like sleeping, eating, and digesting, also showering and self-care, they are not your priority. Your priority when you're really in danger is to get away from that and maybe even to fight and to do everything to get back to safety. I could already see this coming. I was actually hoping. I was hoping that we find the handbrake. But when we were together last week and you started bringing up your ideas of revenge, punishment, and taking people to the grave with you, was a clear sign for me, actually, of the things to come. And I hope that it will not happen, but it did. And believe me, it hurts. It hurts a lot to see you drift away and not be able to help myself. Because you think, because trauma told you that you have to do it all alone and that I'm a liability instead of a resource for you. Trauma makes us avoid people, makes us avoid things that are actually good for us, because it makes us believe that they, meaning the people, or it, the things like self-care, is not worth it. Trauma tells you stories about not having much time left to live, so that new teeth are a waste. Trauma tells you that there is no point in seeking peace in your life, because life itself is only fight and struggle, and everybody is out to get you. That is what trauma tells you. Trauma is terror, and you cannot even escape the terror, because it doesn't come from the outside world, but from inside. Trauma is stored in your nervous system and in your body, in your brain and in your body. And that is why you can never escape from trauma if you don't heal it. You take it with you wherever you go, and you will always get into situations again where this old trauma is triggered. That is why even if you get far away from your relatives, if you move to Creta and never see them again, you will take that trauma with you because it is stored within you. And that is why the only fight that really makes sense is the fight against trauma and not the fight against any person in the outside world. You know, there is help available. I am actually learning those things. I have learned them. I have clients who experience similar things to what you are experiencing. I know what it's like. I also suffered from trauma, before I healed it. And sometimes it's still coming up. For me, it's about abandonment, and that ties in nicely with you pushing me away and me feeling abandoned. That is also why I appear pushy maybe at the moment, because it also triggered some remaining trauma that I carry within me. And that is the important point. I carry it within me. It's not caused by you. You're not to blame. It's the trauma that is to blame for me and for you. So there is help available. There are things that can be done to fight the right opponent, to fight trauma, and not the people who want to help you be safe, yeah? But unfortunately, I see you drifting further and further from seeking assistance, from seeking help. Part of your trauma is that you don't trust anyone, because in the past, the people you trusted most, they betrayed you and abandoned you. So the last thing you would probably do is seek help, even though this would be the most effective and beneficial thing for you to do. I feel that you have already partially cut me off. I'm not receiving replies to my questions. I'm not receiving good mornings and good nights anymore. And you keep yourself busy with people who are at a safe distance, like Christos and Efi. They don't know all about you that I know about you. And so, yeah, you can keep them close because they are not a threat, while I am a threat, your trauma tells you. So I see that I'm already partially cut off, and this is very alarming to me. It is alarming to me, to us, and also to you. Or it should be for you, but you can't feel it. I think you really want to get away from me at the moment, and I'm not taking it personally. At least I try. I try. Um, yeah, but I see that your inner world is shut off from me already. You can tolerate me as long as we talk about the dogs and other superficial stuff, but your inner world is already locked for me. I feel that. And it doesn't feel good. Not because I think I have a right to go there, but because I know I'm speaking as a therapist now. I try to. Because I know what it means when somebody has locked himself in his inner fortress, not letting anything out, not letting anything in. This is horror. This is terror. This is trauma. It scares me to know that you're in that place. I know what it feels like, and not only in theory, also in practice, and it's scary. And I really hope that we find a handbrake now. I feel deeply for you in that state, and I want you to know that I'm still by your side. I would know how to deal with that trauma if you were my client and would come to me for help and assistance. But you are not my client. And yeah, you have an especially difficult kind of trauma in this regard because it is centered around people that you trusted and who betrayed and hurt you. So everyone you actually trust is a risk to that trauma because it is a repeating compulsion. Trauma wants you to repeat the past. Yeah. And in the past, the people you trusted were not safe. So they cannot be safe in the present. And that is why I think trauma makes it very difficult for you at the moment to stay in our safe space, in our space that has always been a safe space. Um, yeah, you push that safe space away because trauma is telling you lies. It is telling you that nobody can be trusted, even though Mimi has been by your side through a lot. Yeah, there was a moment when I saw a little bit of light. That is when you said, yes, you helped me out of depression. And so, yes, that is the Mimi, the real Mimi. I was by your side and I held space while you were getting yourself out of depression. I did not do this. I was just holding that safe space, holding that container. You're at a very, very crucial point in your life at the moment. And this is not because of your mother and your relatives. You are at a crucial point where you have to decide if you choose endless repetition of the past, of pain, of trauma, of terror, of survival, or if you turn the other way and you choose healing. Choosing healing for a brain stuck in trauma might feel like you are running straight into the abyss and put down your weapons, but the opposite is true. Choosing healing is actually telling the subconscious trauma brain to shut up and stop telling you the same old stories of being alone, of the world being a dangerous place, and nothing and nobody to trust out there. Healing means that you do things that instinctively feel wrong in that moment, like trusting, because your instincts are in survival mode. And you cannot create a good life in survival mode. You can do nothing but survive. Let us recapture what actually happened the last 2 weeks. You're a strong and grown man who is able to stand on his own 2 legs financially. You have a job, you have a home, you have a girlfriend, and some few selected friends and a wonderful dog. You are safe. You are safe. And that is due to your own inner strength. Your mother and your other relatives are getting on your nerves by doing things that upset you and by being respectless. And from the safe position that you are actually in, you can easily say, I choose my peace over their chaos. And as long as you choose your safety and your peace, they can do nothing to you because you're old enough, because you're standing on your own two legs financially. They have nothing. They have nothing. And you can say, stay in that safe space. There's no need to leave it. And the next time one of your relatives or even a colleague tries to bring chaos into your life and into your safe space, you can say, I choose my peace over their chaos again. You can do this every time something happens. There is no need to make this a battle against the rest of the world. It is very possible to keep your safe space and still oppose chaos and not react anymore to the people who bring that chaos. You can choose to grow, make yourself further independent by not having a car with Nafsika, by not having to rely on her for food and for laundry. And you're doing that. You're stepping into the right direction. You're getting even more safe, but your brain doesn't feel that safety. You can choose growth and focus, and you're already doing it by not reacting anymore and not engaging anymore with those people. But it is a situation by situation decision. You don't have to cut anyone off in that way. You can, from situation to situation, say, I choose my peace over their chaos, or something else that feels right to you along those lines. Every time somebody approaches you with an energy that is not good for you, that brings chaos to your life, you can step away from it and say, I choose my peace over their chaos. You can do all those things. You can get the cooking machine, you can get the washing machine, you can fix your teeth and plan summer holidays. And at the same time, you still keep them away from engaging with you if they bring chaos. It can be there both. You don't need to say, I need to cut everything and everyone off and I'm at war and I need to fight now and this is the biggest fight of my life. No. It's a situation by situation thing. Whenever there is somebody bringing chaos to your life, you can choose to not engage. You're a grown-up man. You have authority over your life. You have financial independence. And you have some good people by your side. Now, all of those things you did not have when the trauma happened. Yeah? Because the core trauma has to do with your relatives, with your family, with your mother, with her neglecting and abandoning you. You're not that helpless boy anymore. You're a grown-up man and you have authority, you have agency, and you have independence. So use it. Believe in yourself. Believe in the power that you already have. You don't need to exercise power with a sword on the outside. That power is within you. That power is the power of choice. The power of choosing peace over chaos in every moment for yourself. Not to hurt them, but because you want a good life. So why does your body go into a fight or flight state? Why does your body believe that it's about sheer survival now? It has nothing to do with the facts as they are now. It's an old traumatic memory that gets replayed here. In the past, you were neglected and abandoned. You were betrayed and didn't have a safe space. This is why you cannot recognize the safety around you anymore when the trauma starts whispering in your ear. Your brain makes you believe that the past situation is happening again now. And it feels like it's happening now on a somatic level. You feel the pain, you feel the terror, you feel the activation of your nervous system. A trauma tells you old stories that make you believe that they are not a matter of the past, but of the present. And now I will pause this because I have no clue how long this tool will record. And I will record a second video in which I will apply a very basic technique of grounding with you if you want. All you have to do is find a quiet space, sit down or lay down, you can choose, and follow my words through this. I would be happy if you did so. But for now, I will pause, and I really hope that this recording worked out.